Interface Video, in cooperation with Fairfield Federal, presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fair Hope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Frankie Smith Funeral Home, Fairfield County Adam H., Dagger Law, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.
Hello friends, and welcome to Fairfield Today. I'm Paul Jackson, your host. Thank you for joining us as we begin taping today. Look outside, a little cloudy and overcast, but kind of seems like we're heading into more of a, high school football has finally started. School is up and running in almost anybody now, in some form, in home or in school, or a hybrid thing like perhaps Lancaster is doing now. So we're heading in kind of a fall time of the season, a nice time of the year. And it's certainly been a different year, and as I mentioned, almost every time we come on, any guest I have on since we've come back, we took a couple month hiatus, but ever since we've come back, I don't think there's one guest I have had on that hasn't been in some way, more or less, touched by COVID-19, and I'll guarantee you that's the case with my next guest right now. It's Larry Hanna, who is the administrator for the Fairfield County Health Department. Larry, welcome.
Nice to be here, Paul. Appreciate the invite.
Well, and we're glad you could come, and I've apologized to a couple people and to you when I called you to have you on. It was interesting, I think, and I'm sure you're glad about that, but the last time I asked you to be on is when the church out on East Main had a botulism outbreak, and that was kind of and we thought that was big. But that was nothing.
It's funny. After botulism, I thought, well, that's certainly going to be the highlight of our careers. Well, we were wrong, but
oh man! And what I've noticed in watching the governor briefings and reading about everything is people like you who are a health department, the administrator, and I assume there are 88 of you around the state, really have been given a tremendous amount of power in your own county. Mm-hmm. Seems like the governor has abdicated. He makes a lot of decisions, and we know that, but he's given a lot of all the administrators, a lot of power to do things in their own county, and that's probably worked out well for you, but it's a lot of responsibility.
It is. It's a lot of responsibility. It's a lot of work as far as the responsibility for mask mandates and things like that. I can't tell you how many phone calls we had for folks going into a business or whatnot, and they're not wearing a mask, and they phone those complaints into us or an email. It's just been hundreds. It's been hundreds of calls.
There's probably not a day goes by.
No, absolutely not a day goes by.
So let's begin, and we'll talk. If we get a chance, we'll talk about other things that the health department does, because it's amazing how many things they do. But now everybody forgets that because it's all about COVID-19, and I'm sure that's been your life for 6 months too. Where does the county stand now? And again, we want to give some good solid information. Where is the county right now?
Well, right now the county just went from red a week or two ago to orange, which is a good
improvement.
Thing. That's an improvement.
Yes.
But it's an improvement. But it's a thing we need to realize. It's not time to let our guards down.
Yeah.
We still need to wear those masks. We still need to social distance. We still need to wash our hands and stay home where we're sick. It really hasn't changed that much. It's just a color change.
Do you see that happening, that when things, even for a short term, maybe a week or 2 weeks, things get a little better, the governor says we're improving, you see then people, well, it's back to normal?
I think we all want to think that, yes. Yeah. Well, we're back to normal, and we're not yet. We're not there. We've got quite a ways to go to get back to normal. So in your opinion then, the mandate on masking was a good thing? Absolutely a good thing, yes.
Absolutely. I hear the CDC, the gentleman that's the Surgeon General, he's got promos on the radio. I hear him a lot. He's absolutely saying that when you can't social distance, absolutely you should wear a mask. They feel that's a positive, and you think that's a good way to go?
Yes, we believe that completely. I think there's enough tangible evidence right now to say that masks are making an impact on the spread of COVID.
So it actually has been since that mandate come out. We've actually dropped down. So you assume
absolutely have.
Possibly that's been an impact maker?
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard to say if a mask prevents 90% of the spreads or 50% or 40%, but even if it's a low number like 25 or 30%, it's still worth it.
Yeah. And where are we, say, on restaurants in town? I mean, for a while you couldn't go in any restaurants. Some shut down, some now and then opened up a little bit, say at their drive-through, never opened up and they're inside. Now some are opened inside at a much lesser capacity, and they have
shields,
guards and shields between tables. They've removed tables. They've made it less intensive, maybe 50%. So how are things going in that respect from what you see here in the county?
From what we see in the county, I think that's going pretty well. We don't see a lot of our infections that we're seeing coming from events like people going to dinners. We see a lot of our infections, to be honest with you, coming from backyard barbecues, birthday parties, things like that. I think it's important we all need to wear masks, but other than when you're around your immediate family, and when I say your immediate family, I mean your husband or your wife or your son or something like that.
People live in the house.
People that live in that house. If you have friends come over, even if they're your son that lives 30 miles away comes over once in a while, that's the immediate family, but it's kind of a distant immediate family, and you need to think about that.
I know churches have, for the most part, opened back up under these same guidelines, maybe every other pew, social distancing, and that's pretty much, I think, what they're saying too. If you come with your spouse to church, sit with your spouse, but don't sit next to any other people, even though they may be your sibling, they may be your kids in there. If they don't live with you, you don't know where they've been, and I guess this contact tracing would be an important thing.
It's very, very important to slow the spread of COVID, yes.
Have you had much of that contact tracing to do?
Yes, absolutely.
What causes you to be involved in contact tracing?
Contact tracing happens when you have a person that is COVID positive.
Yeah.
Our nurses there's actually two parts to contact tracing. There's the intake part where the nurse will contact the ill person, get all the demographics and the information, find out who that person was around prior to the exposure, and those are the people that need to get quarantined. Then those people will get called for 14 days by our contact tracer team, the other part of our contact tracer team, to do daily health assessments, how you feel, and you have any of those symptoms and whatnot. So
I've noticed too that when you go in buildings now or you go to a doctor, the questioning kind of changed. For a while it was they would take your temperature, they wouldn't swab you. If you're just going to the doctor, they take your temperature. Do you feel bad? But now I noticed recently some of the questions when I've gone with me or my wife to the doctor, it's have you had a change in your taste, sense,
That's
in
a
your
big
smell?
One. That's a big one.
Those
of sense
those seem
smell.
to be taking over. Those are indicators?
They're one of the indicators. Yeah, absolutely. They're probably a little more of a common indicator than the temperature, but the temperature is always important. We still take everybody's temperature when they come into the health department. It's still important, but we still see a lot of cases where people become infected and they don't have a temperature for a few days. But the loss of sense of taste and smell is a big one.
Yeah. So if you have that going on, perhaps something to think about.
Yeah, it's absolutely something to think about. You should probably stay home, call your doctor. Hey, doctor, what should I do?
We look at the big picture, let's say the entire United States, and we certainly understand that New York, what a horror show that was for a long time, the worst in the country, versus, let's say, Nebraska, who, for obvious reasons, people aren't as intensely packed in. There are things that they could do to naturally social distance. So if you would translate that down to this county, I would imagine, and again, I would encourage anybody to go on the website for the Fairfield County Health Department. You can use your search engine, put that in and find it. They have a tremendous website, which I'm sure has much more information now than it ever had a year ago.
Absolutely, it sure does.
And it changes on a dime.
Changes all the time, yes it does.
But they have all kind of great information on there. But one of the things you can look up is the county, not only the county, which is what they deal with, but by zip code. And it was obvious to me that as I looked at that, and again, the whole, what is it, orange? Is that the color, dark orange or red or not red, but orange, I guess. If you broke it down by zip code, it was obvious there was a large difference, say, between even Lancaster and Pickerington, but certainly Pickerington to the north of us versus, say, a Baltimore or a Sugar Grove.
Sure.
There's a large difference there, and I assume that's that same thing where people, I assume the Pickerington people have that Franklin County thing going on
They
with
do,
them.
absolutely. They do. You know, the more congested we are, the closer we live together, the more interaction we have, the more opportunity for the virus to spread.
Yeah.
It's probably as simple as that.
And when you were, we talked about a second ago about having backyard barbecues and people like, you probably get tons of calls about that too. My neighbor's got 15 people there. Is the limit 10? Is that supposed to be the limit?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So each family member's non, it doesn't matter, but there's only supposed to be 10 or less in any situation.
Right.
I could imagine your staff has, they're probably hearing that phone ring or buzz in their head. They hear that so often.
They do. The calls have actually subsided a little bit versus what it was a month ago, but we still get a substantial number of calls.
Yeah. So here we are in the middle of all this, but life goes on for the health department.
It does.
I've got Larry Hanna on. He's the administrator for the Fairfield County Health Department, and you do tons of other things in the county. We're just now getting into very soon into what would be called the flu season.
Yes.
Do you have an opinion on that, what we could expect?
Well, I'm concerned.
Yes.
I think we're all concerned that there could be a lot of patients that maybe were commingling will have the flu and COVID at the same time. It could be pretty nasty. I would encourage everyone to get their flu shot this fall.
Yeah.
Just as
even
a
if they
precaution.
never did before.
Even if you've never done before. I know lots of folks tell me they don't get flu shots because they say it made me sick. Well, it's possible it could make you feel a little bit off for a day or so. But if you've ever had the genuine real flu, boy, you'll get the shot the next time. The real flu is just nasty. It's very difficult.
I'll give my doctor a little plug. It's Dr. Ralph Romaker, who I think is one of the finer doctors in this town. And he's told me before, there absolutely is no way you could get sick. Now, we've all heard those stories where I got sick, and maybe something did occur, but he says there absolutely is no connection between getting a flu shot and getting sick. It just, because of the way it's put together, it can happen.
Yeah.
But that's what you hear. People don't want to get it.
Yeah, you do. And they could have been getting sick when they got the shot or something else, but the flu shot is absolutely worth getting.
What's your, I know we've got a ways to go yet, got a couple minutes. What's your feeling on the vaccination? We're going to see that this year?
Well, I think like Dr. Fauci, I'm kind of optimistic on it.
Yes,
I don't
realistic.
Realistically optimistic. Realistically, I say it'll probably be more towards the spring.
Wow.
It takes a long time to develop a vaccine and to test it. So it's important it not be rushed because we have to get this right.
Yeah, it wouldn't do any good to get it and all of a sudden it doesn't work.
No,
or
absolutely.
People get worse because they take it.
Right, absolutely.
And it looks like there's so many people working on it, you think we will get something positive out of it.
I think, I'm very optimistic that we'll get something positive. I'm just not sure when it's going to be.
Well, we hope all the phone calls you get are good ones from here on out. We've been doing this, it seemed like, golly, for years, and it's only been 6 months. I'm sure in your position it certainly seems like 5 years rather than 5 months or 6 months, but you're doing a great job out there, you and your staff, to keep us safe and doing the things that the governor has given you the auspices to do, and the way you run the county. We seem to be doing the right things and making good decisions, and we hope we continue to drop and get better. So good luck on what you do. Yeah, I know you do. Larry Hanna, who is the administrator with the Fairfield County Health Department. Thanks, Larry, for being with us.
Thanks again.
I'll try to have you back again before. We hope we never have another one like this. We'll just go back and talk sometime about mosquito fogging or something like that.
Something more common.
Larry Hanna with us, and we'll be back on Fairfield Today in just a moment.
Fairfield Medical goes the extra mile to give attention to their patients, to their guests, anybody that comes within those doors.
There's no question that the staff there are all personally invested in seeing that I got the best care possible.
The staff was so comforting. I felt like she was in the best hands.
They basically gave me a second chance at life, and I'm going to make the most of it.
One want to thank Larry Hanna from the Fairfield County Health Department for giving us good, solid information about COVID-19. It's good to have somebody with the credentials that Larry has to give us the straight scoop on that. And again, thanks to all the folks here at Fairfield Federal for allowing us to come in. As you've seen on their commercials or on their billboards, it's banking that revolves around you, and it has been for 125 years. Aquasqua Centennial is the name of that. So talking to Matt and Mary and all the folks here, they've had to cut back on a lot they were planning for this year. It's going to be a big deal for their 125th anniversary. But I think those things, as we were talking with Larry, as they calm down and we get better, maybe we'll see more things that they'll be able to do in the coming end of this year or beginning of next year. Aquasqua Centennial +1, whatever they want to call that there. But we appreciate them allowing us to come in. We'll continue on Fairfield today with the young lady that I've had some fun getting to know over the last couple of years, Jolyn Pugh. Jolyn, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to guess you're a baseball fan.
I am a baseball fan. I'm a baseball mom.
Oh.
So.
Who's he play for?
Right now we're playing out of Big League in Columbus.
Okay.
So he's 15, so we played there.
Traveling team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a fall ball type league, and then we switch over to a different team for
Did he get
next
knocked
year.
out of that in the spring at his school? Where does he go to school? Burn Union?
Burn Union.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, we did. He had a boot on his foot after basketball season, and the day he got the boot off was the day they canceled baseball. So he didn't even get a practice with him.
Wasn't for bad luck, you wouldn't have any luck.
The day we showed up, he was so excited. He had his boot off and ready to play baseball, and they canceled everything. So.
Jolyn, of course, is the executive director of Big Brothers and Big Sisters, and we've had her on before several times to talk about that. A good organization, and just obvious where to start, and I made that comment. There's nobody I've had on since we've started coming back with the show that, of course, we do a lot of nonprofits, a lot of organizations, a lot of big things that go on in the county, like festival and the fair and all that. There's nothing that we've talked about that hasn't been touched by this, and I'm sure Big Brothers and Big Sisters is no different.
I'm wearing my mask today. There's been a lot of negatives that have happened over COVID. But that being said, there's some positives coming out of it too. We had to make our matches start meeting from in-person meeting to virtual.
Oh, yeah.
So that was huge. We have a lot of matches that have known each other for 7 years, and you're kind of family at that point. And it's hard when we say you can only talk on the phone or on Zoom. And so it was difficult. And I think probably everybody was a little,
Yeah, everybody's apprehensive about how this is going to work.
So we wrote some policies, and we gave some guidelines, and we're allowing matches to meet now. One of the requirements is a mask. And so, trying to be outside when you can, do activities, short car rides instead of the long car rides. There's nothing better than being in a car with a little girl or guy.
Real together time.
It is, because they tell you stories and you can share.
Sure.
But we don't want that right now. We want short car rides, get outside, play at a park. So there's been some negatives. Bold for Kids' Sake was canceled.
Yep.
We've been doing that event for so long in the community, and we lost like $30,000 by not having that. And so that's a negative. But the positives are that our littles are writing letters to each other. Our littles are writing letters to the
Real
big.
letters?
Real letters.
They still do that?
They don't, but they're learning. But then our high school bigs are writing letters back, and they're pen paling. And
nice.
I think that's a skill, that is forgotten.
Sure, it is. It has been lost.
It has. And I think that's one of the things I love about this, is it forced us to do some of the things maybe that we have forgotten about. So the pen pals. One of our friends, Bill Haas, and his little, they have been pen pals the whole time, writing back and forth, and that's amazing. That's just, it's such a skill to learn and to enhance. And so this year with COVID, our matches are all going to look different in our school-based and our community, and so we've decided to continue that. So we're actually offering pen pal type mentoring.
Yeah.
To where if you don't want to have in person, you can virtually meet and then just write letters in between the times that you meet. And I think that'll be great for the kids.
Yeah, I think we are seeing some of those things. For example, people meeting at home. We might find out that if this were to end tomorrow, suddenly be over, some of those things would continue because businesses or places or individuals finding out it works better.
Right, absolutely. You know, and I think one of the things with us is we did work from home for a few months. You know, we were not deemed essential workers in.
Sure.
So we did work from home, and we did find too that it gave us the ability to check in on the littles probably a little more than what we would in the office, you know, with the phone ringing and emails and all that kind of stuff going on. So my staff was that extra person for the littles. So they did a fabulous job maintaining contact, asking about grades, Zooming with them, checking on them, you know, and the schools are really a huge safety piece for kids. You know, it's food, you know, socialization, making sure that they're safe and protected. And we stepped in and tried to be that extra layer for the kids when school shut down. And I think that was great that the staff got to build those bonds with the kids going into the next school year.
Talking with Jolyn Pugh. Jolyn is the executive director of Fairfield County Big Brothers and Big Sisters. I want to talk about the donations and how things tapered off, things going on there, but I also want to comment, very nice article in the Lancaster Eagle Gazette. You were one of, I think, 4 or 5 women that were mentioned, the 100th year of voting rights coming to women, so the paper featured different successful women in its community, so what an honor for you to have make the cut in the top 5.
It was. I was very very shocked and honored. It was he did a great job. I said he made me sound a lot better than what I thought I sounded when
I don't think
he talked to me.
I think that was a very nice article.
No, I thought it was great. You know, and I'm raising a daughter myself, and she's all about girl power, and you know, she has the future president t-shirts and all that stuff. So it was really awesome for her to get to see that as well. That if you do great things, then you can be recognized. So.
Now, you already indicated you lost Tiki Lanes, you lost that bowl-a-thon you had every year, a huge out front thing that everybody knew about, and a lot of money and a lot of just public interest in that. So that's gone. Now you have a banquet that you've held every year, and that's, I think you're still going to have it, but it's going to look different.
It is. You know, last year we had decided to make it a virtual event anyway, because you can reach more people if you have it live and kind of streaming it. And so the mission of that event is to really honor our volunteers and the community partners that we have, who we call Defenders of Potential. And so we really honor them, but it is a fundraiser too. And so we have a reverse raffle, and that can all be done online. So that's how we're going to do it. We're going to broadcast live. Interface Video is going to help us as the sponsor for that. And it's just going to be great. And Fairfield Federal is actually a sponsor for it too. So it's really awesome. And we're still going to get to honor everybody and still have those stories and share all that information. But somebody has the chance to win $5,000.
Not bad.
Not bad. So
and you get to stay home to do it.
And you get to stay home. You can be in your pajamas. You know, you don't have to dress up. You don't have to do any of those things. So it's going to be fun. And I'm hoping I can twist your arm and you'll come and hang out with us and help get everybody excited about it. But, you know, the tickets are $50 and you get a chance to win $5,000.
Nice.
And then there's prizes throughout the evening, every 25th person. So it's really fun. And, you know, it's the reverse raffle is where you don't want to hear your name called. Yeah. So it's a little twist
Later is better.
Yes.
Later is better.
You want to be that last person in the hopper.
So we've talked about Big Brothers and Big Sisters and how it's changed for that relationship. It may be better, but it's certainly different.
Yes.
Have you had people still showing an interest in getting involved, even in this COVID-19 time?
We have. We have amazingly made 9 to 10 matches since COVID happened, and which is amazing, you know. And I think that getting to start those matches, we matched them virtually, so they met on Zoom and started their relationship. But they've painted rocks, they've made food together, they've took tours to museums that were online. So it's been a really great experience. To see how matches can still create that bond, not doing it in person. Obviously, we love in-person time, but this is a great alternative.
You still need volunteers, I'm sure.
We do, though.
I'm sure always you have more littles than you do bigs.
Yes. And like right now, we're really in trouble because the school-based matches, we had 150 last year. And this year we only had a few applications coming in from the schools for the bigs, the high school bigs. So we have a huge need in our school-based program to get those kids. We probably have, I think the last I counted, we were well over 70 kids that need matched. So, and that changes every day, but new referrals are coming in daily. And once school starts, the numbers will increase. So we definitely need people to do it. And we have different options now. Sorry, my mask is losing it here. But we have different options too to kind of help someone if they don't want to leave their office. They can do it virtually.
Yeah, sure. Again, you had to cancel your bowling thing. If somebody or owns a business or an individual that wants to make a donation, or they actually says, well, I could do this. They might want more information on it to start out. Great website. You have a lot of information on there. You can just go to your search engine, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and you get to where it's Fairfield County, which is yours. A lot of good information on there. All the information they need about everything.
Yes. And there's a donate button.
Yeah.
So they can donate, they can contact us if they want to be a sponsor. We need sponsors for events that we have and things that we do with the kids. So there's all kinds of ways that people can help.
Yeah. Well, it's an organization that always, like most nonprofits, they need the volunteer help. Certainly volunteers is what drives Big Brothers and Big Sisters and always has. So best of luck as we move through this. In October, they can find out if you go on there. You've got your annual banquet. It's done virtually, and it'll be, I think, October 24th or something.
October 24th.
Information is on the website. You can donate. You can get involved there, and it'll be live streamed. You can do that out at Interface Video. So we hope that's a tremendous success. Thanks so much
for
being on. Stay safe, and we'll talk on down the road.
Awesome. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you. Jolyn Pugh, Executive Director of Big Brothers and Big Sisters, our guest today on Fairfield Today.
Interface Video, in cooperation with Fairfield Federal, presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fair Hope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Frankie Smith Funeral Home, Fairfield County Adam H., Dagger Law, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.